Guys, and happy Friday to you. So excited because this is probably gonna...
Boss, that is fire. I love it. I love it. But let an expert handle this.
You want the mic?
Give me a mic.
All right, here you go.
All right. Well, I'm Anthony Shavies. I'm here with my man Boston. We're going to talk about some credit.
Hello and happy Friday. Today I'm joined... that intro was fun. That was
It was.
that was a good time. So today I'm actually joined by someone really brave, and I say that because most people cringe at this word, but you've decided to learn all about it and just master it and go really far with it. And the word that I'm thinking of right now is credit.
Yeah.
Today I'm joined by Anthony Shavies.
Yep.
And he's gonna enlighten us, and I think this will be probably one of the most important videos that we do, just because the number one excuse that I get or roadblock that people have when I ask them, why are you renting right now? Why aren't you putting more money in your pocket by buying? They say credit.
Yeah.
So. But first, I want to start off by just asking you who you are and how your journey got you to where you are now.
Yeah. So, I'm Anthony Shavies. I'm Jessica's husband and Maya and Lena's dad. So, those are my biggest titles, I guess. But yeah, I got into credit. Well, I don't have a financial background. I played professional basketball for about 10 years over in Europe after playing for Missouri State Bears. Yeah.
Where at in Europe?
Ukraine, Germany, Austria, Hungary.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah. Yeah, some cool
You're the real
countries. So, yeah, but here's what got me into this though. I was making probably on average, if I averaged it out, somewhere between $30,000 to $40,000 every year that I was playing. Tax free, pay for your house, they pay for your car, they pay for your food, your insurance, everything, right? So I was making a lot of money for somebody that age without any strings attached, really. I could have been buying houses and houses and houses and houses and houses, and when I stopped playing, I should have like this fortune, right?
Yeah.
But
Monopoly.
Nobody taught me that, and of course I was just like everybody else, just thought, well, shoot, I got terrible credit, I got that Sprint bill, there's no way I'm gonna ever be able to own a house, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So long story short, I blew all of that money, right? And then
Well, you were young, right? I mean,
I was young, now I stopped playing basketball at about 30, and I had a little bit of savings, but not nearly enough, right? Because I wasn't married or had a kid yet. So
yeah.
So when my wife got pregnant, we of course started looking at buying a house, and that's when I started on my journey and just realized, like, you've just been blowing it for a lot of years. You've just been like doing nothing towards generational wealth and building something that you could leave for your children. So
in other words, you learned.
I learned, right? And you live and you learn, and everybody goes through it. But my mission now is to reach as many people as I can about credit, because I was that guy. I had terrible credit, even as recent as January 2019, I had like a 519 credit score, right? Now, I was already a homeowner, but we made a couple of late payments. And when I say a couple, I mean a couple late payments too. Now, 2 late payments could cost you like up to 100 points, right? 1 late payment could cost you up to 50 points. 2 late payments could cost you up to 100.
Wow.
3 late payments could cost you as much as a bankruptcy.
Yeah. And a late payment, what is that? That's 30 days.
More than 30 days,
Yeah.
right? Now, here's the thing that people should know, and I know we're going to do tips later, but if you are going to be late, right, the thing to do is to reach out to that creditor and just be upfront, like, hey, we're struggling, we're not going to be able to make this payment on the due date. Can you give us some grace? They'd much rather do that than you dodge them and then they have to report it.
Oh.
You know
See,
what
I
I
haven't
mean?
even asked the questions yet. I'm learning.
But like I see that a lot.
Yeah.
I see that so much. Late payments are one of the things that I help people out with the most, right? And people don't realize they can cost you just so many points.
Quickly.
Yeah, quickly. And honestly, there's a lot of things that can cost you points if you don't know about your credit, and that's why it's good to educate yourself about your credit and not waiting until you're an adult and you have a house and all that before you need to learn it. Like, this is something that
they should be teaching in school.
They should be. That's a whole nother podcast, man. Yeah, absolutely. Because I think it's intentional that it's not being taught in school.
Yeah. To
be perfectly honest, but this is something that I teach my
Almost
6-year-old now.
Yeah.
Right. We go over when I go look at houses for investment properties. I try to take her with me. You know what I mean? So she knows about square footage. She knows about bedroom, bathroom, how many they should have and their square footage and all of that stuff. So all the stuff that I didn't know, like even 10 years ago, because kids, this, like, one, they're smarter than us.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
And two, like, they're sponges. They want to know everything. You could be like, I'm sure you in here playing a guitar and that kid's like, well, how does it make that sound? Well, it's got strings. Well, how do the strings do that? Well, they, well, and then it's a question after, because they want to know, and they're such sponges right now. Like, we're doing our kids a disservice if we're not, like, constantly just feeding them, because they have the appetite for learning. If we don't feed them the right stuff, they're going to learn the wrong stuff. It's just
from someone else,
or from TV or internet or whatever, so we have to make sure that we feed them. So that's part of my mission now with the credit, is just to reach as many people as possible and say, hey, did you know? Right? Like, right now, 80% of consumers have an error on their credit report. Some kind of error. And it's so easy to get an error on your credit report. It could be, my name is Anthony Shavies. Now, there could be an Anthony Shavers out there who applied for a credit card, defaulted on it, all that, and that could get attached to me.
It's,
And if I'm not watching my credit report, you would never know. Which right now, this is very important. You can get a weekly credit report for free. That's something that the government has put in place.
Awesome.
Yeah.
What's the website?
I believe it's annualcreditreport.com.
Annual report, and I'll put that down below so that everybody has that.
Free weekly credit reports. That's something that's never happened before. You guys don't know how big that is. Like, it usually costs money to pull your credit, and sometimes it'll cost you points as well, but this is free, and it's for you to look at, because what's happened was they've had so many errors on people's credit report during the pandemic that they've offered for people to look and examine their credit report for free weekly, which has been really cool.
That's good info. So, okay, I kind of want to go back to when I said that the number one roadblock for people, going from renting to buying is credit. So I want to know, like, is credit really all that scary, and is it really, like, all that difficult to get your credit to where you need to buy? I think right now, the minimum is around 600-ish. Is it that hard to get there?
No, it's actually it's not very difficult at all to get to 600. You have to be diligent about it. You have to be you have to monitor your credit report. You have to. It's something that you have to be intentional about, basically. Now, if you're already a money-wise person, you've been raised that way, then chances are you have above a 600 and you haven't even been trying. You're just wired that way. But for somebody like me who wasn't taught about credit, who grew up pretty poor, when I got money, I was like, sweet, I'm buying Jordans, I'm going to have Polo.
Yeah, it's like you have that money from now on.
From now on,
And then all of a sudden.
And so I wasn't intentional about my credit. So when I had to pay something late, I was just like, well,
yeah, it is what it is.
It is what it is. Sprint will get this money whenever they get it, So
they don't need it.
They don't need it, right? So, so if you're intentional about your credit, you can get there for sure. And so, when I say intentional, I mean you should be using a secured credit card. If you don't have above a 700 credit score, you should be using a secured credit card because it's going to boost your credit score the more that you use it, right? Because you're not having to leverage the bank's money, you're leveraging your own money. There's no risk for anybody really. And so they're saying since there's no risk and you're making this payment, they're going to reward you for that, right? So you want to get a secured credit card. When you get a secured credit card, you want to stay below 10%. I know most people say 30. Right? And the reason why is once you go above 30, you start to lose points. If you stay below 10%, you gain points.
Oh, wow. Okay. So 10%.
Yep.
Stay below, right?
Stay below,
okay.
right? So if you have a $100 credit card, that means you can't spend more than $10. Your limit can't go over $10 on that credit card. And if you're using the right way to use a credit card is you get one, you pay for your gas. Once you get home, you pay that payment that you just, so it shows that you're using it. But you never have a high limit because you're not spending money that you don't have.
Exactly, that's what I was going to say. So you're not planning on holding on to debt by getting a credit card, which I think a lot of people see it that way. They're like, oh, now I can spend money because I don't. But that's the incorrect way if you want to build your credit.
Absolutely.
You want to use it and then pay it off immediately.
Exactly. Now, I'm just like everybody else. I've been in a situation where we had to use that credit card. We've even gotten to the max. And it is what it is. But if you got to do what you got to do. If you get to that point, you need to make a plan for how you're going to pay that off. Right? So when we were in that situation, we knew that we had a tax refund coming. So we were like, okay, we'll bite the bullet now. When we get our tax refund, we'll pay it off.
Yeah, but right? You had a plan. So
I had a plan.
Have a plan.
Yeah, have a plan. That's good in anything you do. Always have a plan. But, once you get ahead, once you get that payment paid down and stuff, you need to stay below 10% and you'll gain points. So using a secure credit card is one way that'll get you there.
Yeah.
You want to pull your credit report and see what's on there, right? You want to see what's on there. And if you see something that's not you, which happens very often, I can't stress that enough. Like it happens so much.
Yeah.
You'll have something on your credit report that's just not even you. You want to write a letter to that creditor and say, hey, this isn't me. You know what I mean? Provide any proof that you have. Like I come across a lot of people that say, yeah, I had this on my credit card. On my credit report. Somebody got an apartment in my name in Florida. Like that happens a lot. So you just need to tell them, listen, this was my address. This is where I was living. These are energy bills I had coming to my house. I obviously was not in Florida.
Yeah.
But you need to try to see if you have those kind of errors on your credit report. Because just think about this, right? If you're using a secured credit card, let's say you're at, let's say you got 500 credit score, right? You got 500 credit score, and we want to get you in the house in 6 months. Okay, so you start using the secured credit card. Okay, so a secured credit card is going to give you a boost if you use it in the right way. That should get you 50 points. So boom, we're 50 points there.
50 points.
Right? So now we're at 550 and you've got an error on your credit report and let's say an eviction. Right? So the error is not your fault. So you're going to write to the creditor. You're going to try to get that removed.
And is that the quickest way is to write a letter to them? Some may not even know how to write a letter.
Yeah. Yeah. And there's lots of templates on there. Now if you're really nervous about it, I would reach out to a professional. But here's why I say if there's an error, you should write a letter, is because as long as you're able to prove that it wasn't you, they should remove that.
Yeah.
Now that it's
so send some sort of proof with that letter as well. Okay.
Yes. And most of the time, I think a lot of times you could just say, hey, this wasn't me. You know what I mean? A lot of times, like it's an error in the spelling of the name or something, and so it's used. So that's pretty simple. It's pretty simple, right? But that happens a lot, so people need to be aware of it. But okay, so we get that taken off, and the reason that I say write a letter again is just because there should be no reason that they don't remove it, long as you can show that it's you. Whereas a collection or something that's on your credit report, you can have that removed, but the creditor obviously is going to want to fight it.
Okay.
You see what I'm saying?
So get a credit card and check your credit reports, people. And again, I put that below, so go do that after this video.
Absolutely.
You're getting off work, it's the weekend, you've got some time. So that kind of answered the next question that I was going to ask. So let's go on to the next question here, which is, let's say that you do get your credit up enough to buy a house. You got a contract on the house magically in this market.
Yes.
And but there's some things that you should avoid doing because your credit can drop while you're in the middle of being under contract, and all of a sudden they run your credit before you close, and all of a sudden you don't qualify, and you got to put down 20, 30 more thousand to get your credit back up to where it's supposed to be. So what are some things that you would avoid while under contract on a house?
Yeah, so if you're under contract on a house, that's one of those times where you really need to be intentional about your credit, because like one little thing could blow that whole deal up. And then on top of like costing yourself money and time and energy and just all kind of stuff. So obviously you don't want to apply for any new credit. So that means no credit cards, no department store cards, no auto loan, like even installing cable and internet. Sometimes they'll run your credit because they want to see what your deposit is.
Wow.
You even want to stay away from that. If you're getting new car insurance, okay, you may want to have that done before you start the loan process, because they will again run your credit for your car insurance. So you obviously don't want to have your credit pulled for any reason. You want to make sure that all your accounts stay positive. You obviously need to have reserves and those kind of things, but that's the biggest thing I would say stay away from. If you apply for any new credit during the mortgage process, it is going to make that deal just go sideways very fast.
No ATVs, no golf carts.
No, none of that.
Not even a boat?
No.
All right.
No. And I know like
unless it's cash.
Unless it's
You got the
cash.
cash.
Like people getting ready to buy a home, sometimes they're like, yeah, I'm going to go to Lowe's. I'm going to, buy a couple of things for the house. We have a Lowe's card, right? My wife loves the Lowe's card.
Mm-hmm. I'm not going to tell my wife about the Lowe's card.
Oh, man. So you just, let's say you use your Lowe's card a little bit too much, right? That can affect your credit going into this mortgage process.
Mm-hmm.
Or if you're so you really, if I was starting the mortgage process, what I would do is I wouldn't apply for any new credit, and I wouldn't use my credit cards.
Okay, awesome. And then, Anthony, while I have you here, going forward, do you have any just tips for those viewing who may not be a credit expert that they probably wouldn't think of? There's been tons of those tips throughout this video, so thank you.
Yeah, so.
But do you have any additional?
Absolutely. Secured credit card. You want to do a secured credit card if you're trying to build credit. Okay. Next thing you want to do when you're making payments on that credit card, this is something I have like a bunch of TikTok videos about. It's called.
Yes, if you haven't seen his TikTok, you need to go to his Facebook right now and watch these TikToks. They're awesome.
Yeah, TikTok has been an unbelievable business asset for me. But the 15-3 credit card hack, right? So what you do is 15 days before your payment is due. Let's say your payment is $50, right? You got to pay your Chase card for $50 every month, right? That's what your minimum payment is. So 15 days before your payment is due, you would pay $25, right? And then 3 days before your payment is due, you would pay the other $25. Still paying $50, not paying any more money, you're just paying it at different times. And what happens is the system reads is that you've made 2 payments towards your credit card. So it's telling the system like, hey, he's trying to get this credit card paid off. He's making double payments. You get a bump. And I've had a lot of people from TikTok try this, and then they all come back to me and say, hey, thank you so much. My credit went up like 50 points.
Wow.
Or like.
So when they bump your credit up additionally.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
Yeah.
Like you get, if you use it for multiple months in a row, you will see an increase in your credit score, especially if you're doing things like keeping your credit under 10%. You're monitoring for any errors. You're making sure that you're making all your payments on time, those kind of things. But yeah, like those are the tips that you want to be doing. Also, if you're renting, trying to get into a house, find a program. There's several of them out there that will credit your rent towards your credit score. So if you've been making your rental payments on time for the last 2 years, like we offer a program that what it'll do is it'll report that 2 years of rental payment history to your credit report. That'll boost your score. So
those without credit, that would be a quick way to boost it there. Right there.
I've had one client that now they started really, really low in their credit, but they did the secured credit card. They used the 15 and 3, and they got credit my rent, and they went up 300 points in 3 months.
3 months. 3 months you could be in a house. So
yeah.
All right, Anthony, thank you so much for being
problem,
here. It was
brother.
definitely a pleasure.
Yeah, this is awesome.
I'm going to put Anthony's information below as well as my own. So if you have any more credit questions for Anthony, he'd be more than happy to help you out there.
Absolutely.
And if you have any real estate needs, of course, feel free to shoot me a text, give me a call, whatever you like.
Reach out to this guy. He's the best realtor if you guys don't know. Like, I know he can't brag on his own show, but he is
don't make me blush.
Super duper awesome. He found me the most incredible deal in the world. He's the best.
If you want to keep hitting him. Thank you guys so much. Hope you have a great weekend. See ya.